Chapter 21. Today at a time. Oh, you're adorable. A brunette in a wraparound Diane von Furstenberg dress shrieks as I make my way through JFK. She's standing next to a driver carrying a sign with my name on it. Even though I managed to sleep a few hours on the flight, the red eye has left me exhausted enough to not hear her very well or even imagine she's speaking to me. She looks like the kind of person who would typically give me the one-up, one-down fashion disapproval look. But her voice is so much kinder and softer than it looks like it would be that I'm completely thrown off. For a second, I think she's a random, well-dressed lunatic. "It's great to finally meet you in person," she says, pumping my hand with enthusiasm, then adds, "I'm Nadine, your publicist. I hope you don't mind my intruding on what would have been a peaceful ride into the city, but I wanted to be able to talk to you before you go on today." Before I can answer, she pulls me along as we follow the driver out to his car. It seems like such a girlish move for someone who looks so sophisticated, but I'm so busy trying to keep up with her chipmunk's speed style of speaking that I barely have time to ponder it. "Daniel had told me you wouldn't need any media coaching, but I just wanted to go over a couple of things," she says as we get in the car. It lurches forward and she pulls out a notebook scrawled with lists and filled with Post-it notes of more lists. "Now, I've been pitching you as the embodiment of the modern-day, sexually evolved, intelligent woman. A Marilyn Monroe for the 21st century, but not so out of it or self-destructive. Carrie Bradshaw with sex appeal. The woman who really lives Sex in the City, capiche? She has a sex drive and she's not afraid of it. If she goes to a wedding and can't decide between two groomsmen, she takes them both to bed, am I right?" I nod, finding myself so caught up in the notion of this perfectly evolved and confident-sounding creature that I forget we're even talking about me. I'm not sexually evolved, I think. The main word I associate with my own sexuality is confusion. In the column, I just tried to have a sense of humor about what I'd done. But as Nadine talks, I find myself a bit won over. I liked the idea of being a sexually evolved woman. It makes me sound so much more together than I actually feel. "But you're not slutty," Nadine continues, making a face. "You are not Jenna Jameson, who, by the way, I represented and actually found to be quite sweet. You're classy with both a brain and self-knowledge. You're the ideal modern-day woman." I nod. How could I do anything else? "For the show today, I want you to just be you. Always keeping in mind, of course, that you are representing chat and all that chat stands for. You're witty, but not silly, aware, but still carefree, serious, and yet spontaneous. In essence, you're wild, but you also know exactly what you're doing. Make sense?" I nod. Nadine continues, "After this, I think our best plan of attack is to sit quiet." She suddenly starts turning her voice up at the end of sentences so that they're questions, and I get the sense she's doing it so that I feel more included. "Let everyone see who you are and make them want to find out more, but don't let them have it yet until, of course, you have a few columns out when we put you on The View. And of course, oh my God, you look a little overwhelmed. Am I overwhelming you?" I hadn't realized that the anxiety Nadine's master plan was giving me showed on my face. "I'm fine," I say, "just a little tired." "Oh no!" Now it's her turn to look alarmed. She looks at me closely, and I immediately know that my gray James Purse sundress isn't passing muster. "We'll need to stop by the Prada showroom to pick up something a bit brighter. You look adorable, of course, but we need something a little more TV-friendly. You won't be able to check into the Royalton until after the show, but you can rest then, before we have dinner with chat editors tonight at Schiller's. And then it would be nice if you could put in an appearance at Butter afterward. Just so we could get something in one of the gossip columns tomorrow about how you came into town and managed to be everywhere all at once." I nod, suddenly feeling the effect of the double-shot espresso I had on the flight. I realize I'm excited. "Everything sounds great," I smile. "Bring on the Prada showroom." Nadine seems to exhale for the first time since we've met and smiles back at me. "Are you sure you're okay with going there? I know you might be feeling rushed, so I could call ahead and let them know that you're not going to wear Prada today unless we're guaranteed that no one else is in the showroom." Remember in Pretty Woman when Richard Gere is giving Julia Roberts strawberries and champagne and she reminds him that she's a sure thing and he doesn't need to woo her? I want to say some version of this to Nadine to explain to her that everything happening is already beyond my wildest dreams and she doesn't need to worry. But I feel fairly certain that stress is so built into her DNA that whatever I say won't calm her down. That's sweet, but I don't think it will be necessary, I say, as Nadine's cell phone starts bleeping. She gives me a manic grin and a thumbs up as she answers the phone. As Nadine starts chatting into her phone, I sit back and look out the window, willing myself to be as cavalier about everything as Nadine seems to expect me to be. Do you think the modern-day woman should be able to sleep with whomever she wants to? Meredith Vieira asks me. Well, I guess that depends on how often she wants to, I say, smiling. I don't think anyone should look at sex like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. Meredith and Matt crack up. I'm shockingly calm and composed on TV. I'd sort of assumed that I'd be filled with the same neuroses that used to plague me before I did anything where a lot of people would be watching me. But I think that being at pledges, where I'd grown accustomed to regularly sharing my most personal details with a group of strangers, has eviscerated the anxiety that used to accompany being the center of attention. With the camera on, I feel witty, attractive, and charming, qualities I only occasionally feel I possess in real life. I think of my first 3 colicky months of life and the toothless grin I gave the photographer who came to photograph me. Turn on the lights and watch me shine, I think, as I answer one of Matt's questions. After Meredith asked me if I've heard from either guy since the column came out, that would be no, I'd said, which was met with extensive laughter. I marvel at how easy this TV thing is. It feels like being at a party where the entire focus is on me and everyone else is just dying to laugh and be entertained by what I'm saying. Let's just say I wouldn't mind if either of them disappeared into the ether, I add, and again I'm rewarded with the sound of laughter. I wonder why my friends and family have never appreciated my sense of humor the way they should. Even though it feels like we just started, before I know it, Meredith turns to the camera and says, "If you know what's good for you, get yourself down to the newsstand, grab chat, and check out Amelia Stone's Party Girl column. If anyone represents the modern-day woman we all want to be, it's her." And then it's over. I shake each of their hands, feeling as close to high as I have since getting sober, and make my way to the green room where Nadine is waiting. "Honey, you were brilliant," she shrieks. "Who knew you were so funny?" Even though her question is clearly rhetorical, I feel somewhat compelled to fill the silence that follows, so she doesn't see how uninteresting I really am. But I'm so buzzed from the TV shoot, feeling like serotonin is suddenly dashing through my veins with storm-like speed, that I decide it doesn't matter. And then Nadine says something that makes me feel even more confident that I probably don't have to do much else for people to think I'm interesting. "There's virtually nothing you can do," she says as she types into her phone, "to stop yourself from becoming huge now." For the next few hours, my BlackBerry rings nonstop. Apparently, everyone and their mother watches Today because as soon as I clear out the congratulatory messages that have gathered, the voicemail fills up again. I'm getting ready for dinner, and I'm just about to toss the damn device out the window of my hotel room when it rings again. "Hello?" I sort of say and sort of shriek. "Amelia, is this a bad time?" When I realize whose voice it is, I want to dance a jig across the room. "Adam!" It's the first time I've heard from him since the day we spent together, and I don't make any effort to hide how happy I am to hear from him. "How are you?" I expect him to launch into the same speech everyone else has been giving me about how funny and natural it was on TV, but he doesn't. "Good," he says, "just been in back-to-back interviews for the show. The only problem is that I'm completely distracted." "Distracted? Why?" I smile as I lie down on my king-size bed. "Honestly, because I can't stop thinking about you." Hooray, I think. I wish for superhuman powers that could allow me to break through the phone and touch him. "Me?" I ask, dying to hear more. "Yes, you. Spending time with you the other day just sort of sparked something obsessive in me, I guess." I allow the pleasure of hearing those words bathe me in happiness for a second. Then I say, "Thinking about you a lot, too." I wait a beat and add, "And guess what, Adam? I'm in New York." "What? Are you serious? For how long?" "Just till tomorrow," I say. "This sucks," he says. They have me on this insane schedule the rest of the day and night. I glance at the clock and realize I only have 45 minutes to get uptown to meet the chat editors for dinner. Same, I say. They're motioning for me to go back into the room, Adam says. Why don't we just stick with our plan to see each other in LA? I'll call you in a week or two when I'm back. I tell him that sounds great and hang up, then marvel over the fact that this phone call has made me feel about 1,000 times better than the entire collection of enthusiasm on my voicemail. I'm sitting on my bed, grinning and thinking about Adam, when I hear Nadine knock on my door and tell me she has the car downstairs to take us to dinner. At Schiller's, where a few of the editors split a bottle of wine and the rest of us drink sparkling water, I listen to almost every single one of them call me a genius. I act like this is something I'm used to or feel I deserve. Afterward, we go to Butter, where a steady stream of well-wishers come up and congratulate me on my column or tell me how funny I was on Today. A Philip Lim publicist hands me her card and tells me she'd like to send me some outfits that she hopes I'll consider wearing, quote, out on the town. A Playboy senior editor asks me if I'd be willing to write something for him, and then hits on me when I explain that my chat contract is exclusive. An actor who's on CSI drunkenly confesses his love for me and tries sticking his hand down my pants. Eventually, I return to the Royalton to sleep, and before I know it, I'm back on a plane home. Just after the plane boards, I get a call from Mom, who's a bit underwhelmed by the process of explaining to people how she feels about her daughter writing about a near menage a trois experience that took place at her house. The details I'd given Mom about the column had been deliberately sparse, both because I hadn't known quite how to broach the topic and because I thought my chances were decent that Mom would be too submerged in her poetry world to be more than even tangentially aware of her daughter's, quote, highly fictionalized column. But appearing on the Today Show was clearly like taking a banner and waving it in front of her face. I just don't understand why you can't write about something that's meaningful to you now, she says. Mom, no one in the world at large wants to read about the adventures of a girl who goes to meetings at pledges and hangs out with her gay friend. Nonsense! You just think that because you haven't tried to write it yet, she says. Jesus! I found myself screeching. A model I just saw on the cover of Elle glances over with some concern as she slides into her own first-class seat a few feet away. I lower my voice. Why can't you just be happy for me? Oh, I'm happy for you, honey, she says, sounding anything but. Then she tells me about her college friend's daughter getting into a PhD program at Yale. Look, Mom, they're asking me to turn my phone off, I say, even though passengers are still boarding the plane and all anyone has done to me since I've gotten on board is smile ear to ear. My mom is still talking when I hang up, which isn't surprising, since my telling her I have to go has never stopped her from continuing a phone conversation. I think about calling Adam, but it feels like it's too soon. I could phone Stephanie, but I already talked to her a few times yesterday. Justin has been hanging out with his old boyfriend again and has become increasingly distant. With a slew of saved messages from well-wishers on my voicemail, why the hell can't I think of anyone I want to talk to? For the first time since I've been sober, I don't feel like being grateful. I was the one cracking up Meredith Vieira and Matt Lauer. I'm the one being fawned over wherever I go. I'm publishing's latest sensation. Why don't I have anyone to call?